Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Dylan Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. In this video, what I'm going to be doing is we're going to be doing an NFL Week 12 game reaction, kind of going through every single game of NFL Week 12, kind of giving my opinion on kind of how the games went, my opinion on kind of how the teams did in the game, if they did anything good, bad, overall reaction of the game, and then just kind of their long season future for the rest of the season going forward. So without further ado, we're going to get right into this. As always, if you're going to enjoy today's video, make sure to drop a like. It's very much appreciated if you do so. And without further ado, let's get into it. First up, we got Packers and Lions. This was a kind of a mid-game, I'm not going to lie. I thought the Lions would be able to roll the Packers on Thanksgiving. The Lions did not perform. The Lions came out and was just turning the ball over, fumble after fumble. They couldn't get anything really going on offense. The defense was playing mid. Jordan Love looked like a Hall of Fame quarterback already. As the game went on, it looked like the Lions could make this a game. They were going to go down and win the game. But every single time it got to like 4th and 5, 4th and 4, they got past the 50-yard line. They had a chance to go down, try to get some points, whether it be a field goal or whatever. They had opportunities. They just couldn't capitalize. This is one of those games, the Lions, I think, just want to put it in their rear view and don't even think about. When it comes to both teams, I'm going to say this. I think the Packers, they're, at this point, I think they're fighting for a playoff spot. Lions, they're still in a good spot. I mean, 8-3 for the Lions. They should still be able to win their division. Minnesota just took another loss. We'll get into them in a little bit. But when it comes to Green Bay, I think they are in position to go fight for a wild card spot. Look at the Commanders, look at the Cowboys. This game was pretty much boring in the second half. The first half, it looked good. We thought we were going to get a game in the first half because the Commanders, they went down, made it from 3-14 to 10-14 at the about minute 40 to go in the end of the second quarter. And then we were all thinking, 10-14 going to halftime, this could be a game. And then the Cowboys went right down the field, scored a touchdown. Second half, they came out, scored again, and then it was just like turnover, touchdown for Cowboys. Somehow, when you look at the stats, you look at the Commanders scoring 10 points, and you're going to say, man, they must have played like trash. Sam Howell didn't play a bad game. I mean, 28, 44, 300 yards. The one touchdown was a pick six. He didn't play a bad game. He left some throws out there that he should have hit. There were some touchdown passes he had opportunities for as they were going down the field. Maybe if he would have seen the read better, he probably could have got scores. But he didn't play a bad game. Cowboys offense played really well, but one of the things that I've noticed about the Cowboys is that this interesting stat line. They play really well against teams that have losing records. But when they play a team with a good record, they are 0-3. I think going forward for both teams, Dallas, they're 8-3 right now. They're just kind of hoping to God that they can catch up with Philadelphia to win the division. If not, they'll easily be in the playoffs, wild card. Washington at this point, I think they're ready to just fire their head coach and just start over next season. Look at the 49ers and the Seahawks. This game was a little bit of a snooze fest as well. I didn't really care to watch too much in the second half, mainly because, I mean, look at the thing. It was really boring. I mean, 24-3. I mean, sure, they came out and they got a pick six. The offense from the Seahawks didn't really do jack shit. The only score they got was a field goal late in the third quarter and then that pick six. Other than that, it was a snore fest. Brock Purdy was throwing dimes and darts all over the place. Christian McCaffrey went off. I mean, the 49ers offense was doing whatever the hell they wanted. Coming to this game, I think the Seahawks, if they would have won this game, they would be right now in first place of the division. Everybody was thinking, oh my God, could Seattle go to first place? Could 49ers blow up the whole season right here in this game? No. Going forward, I think San Francisco, they're in a good spot. They're still sitting comfy. I mean, they're 8-3. I think they play Philadelphia this week. If they beat Philadelphia, they're one game back of Philadelphia, and the season looked pretty good going forward because they're healthy, they're ready to go, they're driving on all cylinders. And when it comes to Seattle, I mean, they're 6-5. Division's probably not going to happen this time. But I mean, wild card, fingers crossed, it's possible. We got the Black Friday game. I did not watch this game at all, so anybody who knows very important details I need to know, let me know down in the comments. But I mean, Miami, 34 points, going strictly off the stat line. 2 interceptions, not the greatest. But when you're going against a Jet defense that loves to make turnovers happen, it's kind of expected. You still got 34 points. The only highlight I did see was that pick six at the end of the second half, or end of the first half. That was fucking funny. In a way, I thought Tim Boyle was going to get that ball to the end zone, and it was right there at that 1-yard line, but then it got picked, and when Miami ran that sucker back, it was kind of funny. I'm not going to talk too much about this game because, like I said, I didn't really watch it that much, but it was more of a boring game if I were to guess. People that watched it, I've seen online people talking about this game. Why the hell was this the Black Friday game? But, I mean, it was, I guess, an interesting move by the NFL to put it on Amazon, see what they could do on Black Friday. Kind of looking at both teams' seasons going forward. Miami, I think they're in a good position to win the division. Buffalo is slipping a little bit. And the Jets, I mean, you're 4-7. I don't see playoffs happening now. I've heard Aaron Rodgers might come back within the next 3-4 weeks. We'll see, but I think it'll be too late for Aaron Rodgers to come back at that point. If he does play, the Jets, they need to pull something out of their ass right now if they want him to still be in playoff contention when he comes back. If they don't do anything, I don't know why Aaron Rodgers wouldn't even want to play. We got the Saints, we got the Falcons. This was actually a pretty good game. It was kind of interesting. The only problem was the Saints. Have you heard of the thing called a touchdown? You know that really long box at the end of each field that you can go inside of and it gets you 6 points? You ever heard of those? Because clearly, Atlanta heard of them. They got a couple of those. But when it comes to you guys, it was like you were allergic to it. Well, actually, I kind of mistake. At New Orleans, you did get a touchdown. You actually threw one to the other team. that they ran back. This was one of those games that I thought Derek Carr would come out here and just put on a light show. He was just going to throw for like 400 yards, 3-4 touchdowns, and light it up. Boy, was I wrong. It seems like Arthur Smith is finally learning how to use Robinson, the running back, well. He's finally getting him his touches that he needs to. I think going forward, New Orleans, they're still comfortable, I would say. They need to just start scoring some touchdowns, and Atlanta, they're still good. They're a running team. They're going to run the ball. Looking at both teams, I mean, the fact that we're getting to the point of the season where like the winner of this division is going to have probably 8 wins, kind of sad. We got Steelers, we got Bengals. Jake Browning didn't do too bad in this game. It was just one of these games where I expected it to be a low-scoring game. I think the Vegas bettors expected it to be a low-scoring game. We didn't expect much. Everybody talked about with Matt Canada finally being fired, this offense was going to light up. And don't get me wrong, it did. They were throwing the ball over the middle. They were running the ball really well with Najee Harris. Now, could this just be a Cincinnati defense not being that well of defense right now? Maybe. But at the same thing you have to say about with Pittsburgh. Could it just be Matt Canada was a poison to that franchise, and now that he's gone, they are finally calling better offensive plays? I mean, they said this was the first time in, I think, 3 years that the Pittsburgh's offense had 400 total yards of offense. 3 years, I think. When was Matt Canada hired? I would say about 3 years ago. Going forward with both these teams, Pittsburgh, I mean, you're 7-4 now. You're right there with Cleveland. They're kind of in the same boat of where Cleveland's, their problem was they didn't have a quarterback. Still don't. Pittsburgh, they have a quarterback. They had a team. It's just their offensive coordinator was dog shit. They made the move. Now they're looking better. 7-4, they can still go possibly get in the playoffs. When it comes to Cincinnati, Joe Burrow's done for the season. Defense didn't look too good in this game. It's going to be a long road for Cincinnati. I think the season's done at this point. I mean, the players, they're going to fight. They're going to try and see if they can get back in the playoffs, but I don't really see much else happening after that. If anybody watched this game, please let me know because I didn't watch a single second. The only thing I'm really going to say about this game is Carolina, you fired your head coach. Good job, I guess. They're moving on. Carolina, they're just like in a pure dumpster fire. They're not developing Bryce Young in the slightest. They're doing what they can over there. When it comes to Tennessee, I mean, the offense ran great, but like I said, you play Carolina. Big whoop-de-doo. Going forward for both teams, Carolina, obviously with the head coach fired, they're just tanking at this point, which is kind of funny to say they're going to be tanking when they don't have their head coach now, and they also don't have their first overall pick. It's not like you have a coach in place and you have draft picks and you're just trying to get the best draft picks available for the coach that you currently have. No, they're going to be going in the next season with no pick in the first round. Probably going to have the first overall pick and going to have to be hiring a whole new regime, whole new coaching staff. It's going to be a muddy ride for them. And when it comes to Tennessee, I mean, they're looking at a season where they're going to finish probably 7-10, at the best maybe 8-9, probably a 6-11 team to be honest. But it's going to be a rough season. Mike Vrabel, I wouldn't be surprised if he's fired by the end of the year. But it's just looking like a rough season right now. I mean, the offense, like, they have the playmakers. Will Levis looks like he's a pretty decent quarterback. It's just, there's so many things, like, wrong with this team. It's not funny. Next up, we got the Buccaneers and the Colts. This was actually kind of a cool game. I mean, Gardner Minshew Mania showed up. Baker Mayfield played some Baker game. It was a little bit of a back and forth game. It was pretty interesting. I thought Baker Mayfield was going to go down there and get this team a win in the fourth quarter when he scored that touchdown. Here about 12:50 to go, but then it was like their defense sold. Indianapolis went down there, got that touchdown, and then when they went back down the field, I was thinking, come on, Baker, go get you guys a score. They were down there in the red zone. You had the chance. They settled for the field goal, and the Colts got the ball back, and it was just pretty much over at that point. I think when it comes to Tampa Bay, I mean, they've shown life with their offense. Baker has given them some life in their offense. Sometimes he plays a little rusty. Sometimes it's like not the best football we've seen from him, and other times it's like he plays good football, but the defense just sells. I'm going to say this for both teams going forward. Tampa Bay, you're 4-7, but you're not out of the race for your division. You can still win your division. And when it comes to Indianapolis, 6-5, they still got a shot to win the division. Anybody that watched this game, I am so sorry for you. We have the Patriots and the Giants, 7-10. The most boring football game I've probably seen in a while. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this game was more boring than the Super Bowl back when the Rams played the Patriots. Tommy DeVito for the Giants, great job. You got your first win. Good job, my man. And when it comes to Mac Jones, how the fuck did this guy still have a job? 12 of 21, 89 yards, 2 interceptions. This is the first time I'm looking at this, and what the fuck, Mac Jones? I have been saying this for weeks, and I know a lot of other people have been saying this for weeks. There is one of 3 things wrong with this team. Number 1, Bill Belichick does not know how to develop a quarterback, and he's ruining Mac Jones. Number 2, Mac Jones is just not it, and he's not a good quarterback. And number 3, maybe it's Mac Jones is a good quarterback. Bill Belichick does know how to develop players, or develop the quarterback, but the thing is, they don't have the receivers or the skill position players around them. I'm going to say it's a little bit of all 3 things, but it's mainly Bill Belichick does not know how to develop a quarterback because we've seen Mac Jones play good football in his first year when Josh McDaniels was the offensive coordinator. So it's like anybody that says Mac Jones is a bum, he's a bum quarterback. I would say he's like an average to mid quarterback when you have the right coach kind of coaching him. Like we saw him in Alabama, he played pretty damn well. We saw him in his first year. He was a Pro Bowl quarterback, I thought. Like the dude literally went to the Pro Bowl. You can't say he's a bum when he went to the Pro Bowl. It just feels like every single year. His first year, he was cloud fucking 9. Last year, dog shit. This year, like he has a better coordinator this year than he did last year. Right now, he's got Bill O'Brien, a decent coordinator. Last year, he had Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. And somehow he's like down here in the sewers. Going forward, both these teams, New England, they're dog shit. And New York, dog shit as well. But a little less dog shit. New England is pure dog shit. You are a little bit like dog shit. We got Jaguars and Texans. Let's just go ahead and skim right to the very end of the game. I am so hurting for the kicker from the Texans, Danny. What was his name? Amendola. It hurts. My soul hurts for that boy. What was it, like a 58-yard field goal? He kicked the shit out of that ball. It was right in the middle. And I was even, as I was watching the game, I was like, this ball is going to be dead on, but I feel like it's going to just barely miss. And that ball was kicked. It was straight. I was like, oh my God, it's going to go. And the ball just like, as if this was the post and here's the ball, and it just barely knocked off there. And I was praying, oh, please tell me it's going to bounce upwards and go in. And it didn't. Looking at the overall stats of the game, I mean, Trevor Lawrence, he played good. They had a good run game. The defenses for both teams didn't play awful. It was like key moments where the defenses showed up, but throughout the course of the game, the offenses were just cooking nonstop. I thought there at the end of the game, CJ Stroud was going to lead another game-winning drive. He was going down the field. They were getting plays to move down the field. But then it's like at the end of the game, I'm guessing the adrenaline was going. Receivers were not catching the ball. CJ was getting a little bit pissed. And when he had to settle for the field goal, you saw him on the sideline. He was just sitting there like with his head down like, I wish I could have went down here and got a touchdown. Because in his mind, he was thinking to himself, I do not want to go to overtime. I want to go down here and win this shit. But from a fan perspective, it was a great game. Looking at both teams, I know Houston wanted to win that game so badly because with that win, they would have went to first place in the division. And I know a lot of Houston fans, after the past few years of just sorrow and destruction their franchise has been put through, they wanted that win because they could have been able to look back and be like, it was all for this, and I am proud of it. But going forward, Jacksonville, I think they're actually the number 1 seed in the AFC. Well, they were at one point. They're sitting pretty right now when it comes to playoff. When it comes to Houston, I wouldn't be surprised if they make the playoffs. I really think they can make the playoffs. We got the Browns 12. We got the Broncos for 29. I'm a Browns fan, so if you want a full, complete breakdown, almost like 20 minutes of me just ranting and yelling about this game, I'll put a link up there in the top corner of the screen if you want to go check it out. But kind of summarizing the game, Browns did not show up on offense in the second half. First half, they were there. I feel like DTR actually played a pretty damn good game. The biggest problem for the Browns was the receivers were not catching the football. If the receivers would have been catching the football, this game would have been a whole different ballpark. I thought Denver played a great game whenever it comes to their offense. There was a couple times where I was like, okay, Cleveland, you got this. The defense is going to step up right here. And Russell Wilson would pull one of the little read options and he would just take off down the sideline. And I was even baffled. It seemed like Cleveland was getting their offense moving there in the first half, going towards the beginning of the third quarter. But then it was like Thomas Robinson, he went out of the game with a dirty ass hit, launching. Anybody that says that wasn't a dirty hit, you are out of your mind. I'm calling the Sean Payton bounty gate out, because what was it Sean Payton got called for many years ago? Telling his players to hit other players extremely hard and knock them out of the game. What did Denver do in that game? Knocked out DTR and knocked out Amari Cooper. The other thing I thought was funny about this game, and I didn't even mention it in my video, people were talking about, let Russ cook, look at Russell Wilson, he's doing so good. He went 13 of 22 with 134 passing yards and a touchdown. Thomas Robinson went 14 of 29, 134 yards and a touchdown. 134 and a touchdown. 134 and a touchdown. But yet it's let Russ cook. Russ played great. And DTR is, he played okay. Like, somebody make fucking sense there. Now, in no way am I fucking saying Dorian Thompson-Robinson is like the next Russell Wilson when Russell Wilson was in his prime. But I'm just saying, don't fucking crown the dude for putting up average numbers, and then when somebody else puts up average numbers, you're just like, so what? Looking at both teams when it comes to their standings, Cleveland, they're still in a good spot. Yes, it was a tough loss, but you got to put it behind you. You got to move on. I think they play the Rams this week. They got to put that loss behind them. If they go and beat the Rams this week, they're right back in position to keep on climbing the standings, go back to the playoffs, hopefully. And when it comes to Denver, 6-5, 5 wins in a row. Kansas City, do not take your foot off the gas. I think if Kansas City loses another game, Denver is in a position to where like they are coming for that ass. Look at the Rams and the Cardinals. I thought this game was actually going to be a little bit closer than it looked. First half, I was thinking, oh, hey, we got a game here. The Cardinals went down. They got their touchdown. They scored 2-point conversion. Pretty cool. But after that, it was all Rams. The Rams offense was cooking with hot oil. 4 touchdowns, an interception. 229 yards for Matthew Stafford. Kyler Murray, he did pretty okay. I just think there was times where the offense just left opportunities out there. The Rams, they were being a little bit more aggressive. Rams defense obviously played good, but I mean, the Cardinals are the Cardinals. They're not that good right now. Kind of wrapping up the game, I thought it was a kind of just an old-fashioned beatdown by the Rams on the Cardinals. Looking at both team standings, Rams are 5-6. I mean, they could still make their playoffs in their respective conference. It's a long shot right now. When it comes to Arizona 2-10, they're just looking forward to the draft at this point. We got the Chiefs and the Raiders. This was a pretty decent game in the first half. I thought we were going to get an old-fashioned showdown where the Raiders went up 14-0, then the Chiefs got back into 14-14, and I was thinking, okay, here we go. But then the third quarter came around, and it was like you could pretty much tell the Chiefs were about to turn it on. The Raiders, they had some momentum going here this past few weeks, but as the game went on, we could tell the Chiefs were not going to lose this fucking game. I thought the Raiders ran the ball pretty well. The Aiden O'Connell, the quarterback for the Raiders, he played pretty good. It's just in the second half, I think the Chiefs, their championship experience, or like that mentality, it kind of helped them as the game went on. The Raiders, they obviously don't really have much of that, so I think the Chiefs just pretty much swept the rest of the game up. Looking at the standings, I mean, the Raiders, I don't know if a playoff shot is viable for them. It's going to be a long shot. I mean, they're going to try and get there the best they can. When it comes to the Chiefs, like I said, with the Denver, the Chiefs do not need, they cannot take their foot off the gas. They need to keep going, or else Denver's going to creep up on them. This game was fucking awesome. Buffalo, Philly, 34-37. I was on the edge of my seat. Josh Allen played great. Jalen Hurts played okay. He was more just running the ball, I think. There were some moments in this game where I was thinking, Buffalo looks like they are ready to take this game by storm. And then here comes Philadelphia. I mean, you can look at the score sheet. Buffalo was up early. Then Philadelphia crawled right back in. Then Buffalo went up. Then Philadelphia got back in the game. And there at the end of the game, I was thinking to myself, can fucking anybody stop this Buffalo defense from collapsing over and over again? Like, it just feels like every single time it comes to a pivotal game or like a big time matchup and Josh Allen actually plays really well, the defense sells. And like, I'm seeing all these stats online where it's like Josh Allen's 0-7 in overtime games. How about this? Stop fucking allowing scores. Last time I checked, Josh Allen don't play defense. Why don't the defense fucking stop someone? Like, Josh Allen, they went down there, got a field goal. Now it's the defense turn. Stop someone. Going in the standings, Buffalo 6-6. It's looking rough right now for getting back in that division race. Playoffs, I still don't think it's 100%, maybe 90%, maybe 80%. They should be able to make playoffs, but I think Buffalo, it's looking a little tight right now. When it comes to Philadelphia, 10-1, playoffs are locked up 100%, I think, at this point. They're right now just trying to stay ahead of Dallas and win this division, get the number 1 seed. We got 2 more games left. We got Sunday Night Football. Baltimore 20, Chargers 10. It was an okay game. I thought Lamar played pretty good. Herbert didn't play the best. I mean, the whole entire first half, as you can see, was just boring as fuck. Third quarter, we saw Baltimore score again. Chargers, they got that late touchdown in the fourth quarter. The guy almost dropped it, I think. But after that, it was pretty much like Baltimore was just kind of cruising, taking it down the field, wrapping the game up. I think with both teams right now, Baltimore, like I said kind of earlier with Pittsburgh and Cleveland, I think Baltimore, as long as they just keep on winning, they control their destiny, they can still go get the number 1 seed, win the division, all that shit. But if they start losing, it's going to get risky because Pittsburgh and Cleveland, they're coming. And when it comes to the Los Angeles Chargers, I wouldn't be surprised if Brandon Staley is fired sometime this week, sometime next week. Please, for the love of God, Chargers, please fire him. Like, there are Chargers fans everywhere begging for Brandon Staley to be fired. And when it comes to the Bears and the Vikings Monday Night Football game, kind of like with the game I said earlier on, somebody fill me in on this game because I didn't even watch it. I was watching a movie. I'm not even capping. I watched the fucking movie during this game because, like, the Bears and the Vikings, I'm sorry, who cares? And clearly from the score and clearly from the way the game went, it wasn't that exciting. I mean, you got field goal. Luckily, the Vikings actually learned how to score a touchdown after Josh Dobbs threw 4 picks. The fact that the Bears had 4 interceptions on their defense and they still needed a late field goal to win the game at the end of the game. And it wasn't even like they were able to just cruise right down there and get a field goal. Justin Fields had to throw, I think, like a 20-yard pass that barely got threaded between the gap on a 3rd and 10 that he barely got him down in field goal range. But I mean, they got the job done. Looking at the standings, Chicago, I think at this point they're just kind of playing around. They already know they're getting the number 1 overall pick, so they're just kind of chilling as long as Carolina keeps on sucking. They're getting that number 1 overall pick. When it comes to Minnesota, 6-6 is a bad loss, but keep your head up. You can still go get the playoffs. Other than that, that's going to do it for today's video. That's been my full kind of breakdown and reaction of all these games. If you wanted to enjoy today's video, as always, if you're going to enjoy, make sure you go ahead and drop a like. It's very much appreciated if you do so. If you wanted to watch the entire today's video, thank you very much. And if you maybe I missed a detail of any of these games, and maybe you're a fan of any of these teams and you want to go and leave your opinion down in the comment section down below for kind of how any of these games went, leave it down there. If you're a fan of the content that I do post here and you want to go and hit that big red subscribe button, feel free to do so, and do not forget to hit that little notification bell to be notified the second I post. But without further ado, this has been Dylan Talk Sports. Have a great day. Peace.